Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Thursday Night General Show. You are listening to a pre-recorded show tonight. Just feeling under the weather. I can't say it's one thing or another, but just totally run down, some coughing and things like that. And as they say, the show must go on, so we are going to continue on with the show. And as promised, we are going to be looking at several of these little expansion packets that come from Plastic Soldier Company. These are the Battlegroup NORTHAG, and there are several of them. The first one we're going to look at today is this one right here. This is the Soviet 2S1, and please forgive me for butchering this, Zavitka battery. I'm assuming these are some type of artillery. I have not had a chance to look these up, but by the looks of them, they look like mobile artillery. And since the word battery is in there, we're going to go with that as well. I should grab my phone and look it up as we're talking about it so I know what exactly I'm talking about. So let me grab my phone real quick. And let's take a look at this and see what we've got here. GV OZ D IKA. The 2S1 Zavitka is a Soviet self-propelled howitzer on an MTLBU multi-purpose chassis mounting a 122 millimeter howitzer. Okay, so there you go. It's a 122 millimeter mobile howitzer. All right. So as you can see, this package here, this comes from Plastic Soldier Company, and these are these little expansion kits. And in this kit, it's made out of ultracast, and obviously made in the good old UK. It's nice to see stuff being made in its home country. And it contains two of these 10 millimeter 2S1 Zvadikas. All right, so let's open up the package. So it's literally, when we first got these, they're like, what kind of candy snacks are they sending us? But surprise, surprise, it turned out to be miniatures. Now this ultracast is a process that they have come up with. And you can see this one, that a lot of the pieces came off the sprue. I'll just set that right there. But inside, you get two sprues. On each sprue is a chassis, set of tracks, and a turret with the 122 howitzer on it. So this is made out of that ultracast. Again, this is like some kind of hybrid plastic. And as you can see, I'm sorry if I'm out of focus. Let me see if I can go back. You can bend the heck out of this and it does no damage to this. Now they say you can even have this painted and no damage. Okay. Now the other thing that they're claiming is that you don't have to prime these. You can paint them straight up the way they are. Um, we'll see, because we're going to test that theory here very shortly. So let's look at these a little bit more in some detail here. So again, it comes on the sprue. Let me pull the one that's off the sprue here and make it a little easier to manipulate. So as you can see, detail's pretty good for 10 mil in plastic. I got a groove here for your track to go into. This is where the spur would connected, so that needs to be cleaned up. And 10 mil. Nice piece. Feels good. Definitely would recommend washing your pieces if you're not one that has the habit of washing them, and I'm going to tell you why very shortly. Let's continue on. So here's the turret with the 122 millimeter howitzer, and there is a crew member right here in front of my thumb. I'm going to go with that's the tank commander or track commander. It is base. You could replace these with rare earth magnets if you wanted to, or you could just push fit it in there. It does fit snugly. If you wanted to turn it for whatever reason to show facing or whatever, you could do that. But that's how that goes on. And then these are the tracks here. This your typical tracks. I go on, they fit into the groove. And the groove is kind of keyed. It has an angle up front. I don't know if you can see that or not, right there. And so these tracks fit. Now I'm looking at this. It looks like the track fits this way, just like so. And you would glue it in place. Okay, so there's two of those. So that's what comes in the Soviet 2S1 Zadika battery and 10 millimeter in ultracast. Okay, so I had an issue assembling these. I happened to have two sets of this particular miniature, so I thought I would get a jump start and try and put them together and see how they went. I had an issue. Here's the completed one, assembled. They wouldn't glue. I don't know if I have a bad batch of super glue, but you can see, look at how janky that is down there. So I had a bottle. It's a full bottle of, here, let me switch it so you can see it, because I don't have to flip it upside down the way I got the camera. Let me make sure I don't pour glue all over the place. I have BSI, Bob Smith Industries, Instacure Plus, Crinolite glue. I don't know if there's an expiration date on this stuff, but it's not adhering at all. I washed minis after a while, and I struggled. I have no accelerator. My accelerator's all empty. I use the same, the BSI accelerator, but that was empty. So I had to create some. So I did some research. I tried regular water, did not work. I tried hydrogen peroxide, 70%, did not work. I tried, or not sorry, not 70%. Hydrogen peroxide. I tried 70% isopropyl alcohol. None of that worked. So I came up and I did a little research, and they said chlorine. So I have some chlorine bleach in a bottle, and it seems to sort of work. So I don't know if crinolite glue goes bad after a while, um, but yeah, I was really shocked by that. So, and these are still a little jinky, but let's drive on, shall we? Okay. So they say you don't have to prime these. So we're going to test that theory right now. I'm looking for, and we're going to use contrast paints because I saw somebody else online doing it, but I'm going to look for the right color. I could go to what was I going to say? Metallium green. Yes, that's one of them. Contrast paints, Metallium. Sorry, guys. Green. No, I don't want that one. And basilicum. No, it's gray. I don't want that one. And I might try that one. We'll see. They got some goofy names. Anyways, so I did try different ones and had a hell of a time getting them to work. Let me grab some water real quick for my rinse brush. I didn't grab any of that. So I hope you guys are doing well. Just to let you know, this coming Sunday will be the next recording of the podcast. And we're giving Big Jim, the weekend off. So Jim will not be live streaming on Sunday a game. I'm going to take over, and we're going to do some kind of programming. So, puppy, it's water. My dog's over here sniffing the cup, the rinse cup, thinking it's some treat. It is not. So anyway, yeah, we'll see. I'm thinking we might actually have Marty and I sit down and do the play-by-play, if you will, of the tabletop game, because I am having a hell of a time getting it to render. and create the file. There's a lot of corrupted files for whatever reason. I'm not sure why. So we may just go down the road of a different aspect. Okay, here we go. So I'm using Militarium Green, sorry. And let me make sure it's under the camera for you. And I'm just rubbing it on. So if you were one of our lucky/unlucky participants of the gaming weekend, I'm assuming you have seen and heard by now that it has been canceled, unfortunately. And you should have received your refunds through PayPal. If you have not, for whatever reason, please let me know so I can follow up on it. But I did process all the refunds this past week. I believe I did on Monday, Sunday or Monday, one of the two. So please, please, please let me know if you did not, for whatever reason, receive your refund. Very upset about that. We were really looking forward to that. Um, we had a lot of great plans, but COVID has just reared its ugly head once again, and everybody's locking down big time. And even Gaz wouldn't be able to come over because of isolation and that kind of stuff. So yeah, unfortunately, that looks pretty good. I don't know what you guys think. I know it looks dark on screen there, but it actually looks pretty darn good. Okay. I'm afraid to push down too hard on the tracks, fearing that they will break off because I just don't know how well that stuff is holding. I'm going to have to order new glue, but we'll press on. So I'm just doing base coats. I'm not going to do a complete model. We'll do it at a different time when I actually go live. But I wanted to get some base coat down and see how this looked. Oh, why am I, excuse me for a minute. We're out of focus, and I'm assuming that means the autofocus is on, and it should not be, because I thought I turned it off, and I had set the focus. But bear with me real quick here, guys. Oh, where are you? Where are you? Advanced. No? Let's turn up the brightness so you can see that better. How's that? Let me adjust the contrast a little bit. There we go. And there we go. Okay. That looks good. All right. Perfect. Okay. So now you should see it a little better. I see where I missed a spot. Okay. So, oop, totally missed the whole front of the vehicle. I'm not too worried about the underside because you're not really going to see it, but want to get the angles, you will. Okay, so that's contrast paint on a Soviet 2S1 Zvadika battery. So mobile artillery. Okay, so we're going to move along to the next one. All right, our next piece is a British Spartan Patrol. There you go. Okay, so within this, and the cover doesn't tell you what's in it other than the wording. I mean, the picture is not relative. they do have a little peek window here, so you can kind of see what's in there. This one actually comes with miniature infantry, so you get 2 Spartans and a fire team. So let's take a look. All right. So you get a Spartan with tracks, another track with another Spartan, and you get 2 fire teams, 1 for each Spartan. Okay? All right, so let's put those to the side there, and we'll take a look at this thing. All right, so it's got pretty good detail. Needs some cleaning up here, where this attached to the sprue. Mold lines, not bad. Flashing, I don't really see any. It's pretty clean overall. Got a crew hatch here. No figure with that, but then, so that's the main body. I'll take another quick look at it. And it's plain underside. This one's not keyed. And then you have tracks, typical tracks. And then you have infantry. You have a fire team. I can't say particularly well at this point how detailed they are. Once we throw some paint on them, they'll look much better. Again, we're going to just throw some contrast on these, and then if I need to go back over and then redo them, I don't mind doing that. This is just to show you what you get in these little packs. So let me go ahead and pop off treads. Just like so. Take a look at the okay. All right, now comes the test. So, got my glue. And I say you only need a couple drops of this on these because of this ultracast. Do you guys remember Mantic's plastic stuffed resin? What was it? Plastiresin or Resplaz or whatever it was called. I don't want to say this stuff reminds me of that, but as far as the gluing so far, I'm kind of concerned. All right, so I have some glue down. I have a spray bottle with some chlorine in it. I'm just going to do a light spray. And let's see if that'll hold. It seems to be holding. That's promising. Hope you guys don't mind the smell of bleach. I definitely have to order some new supplies. We used up a lot of supplies doing the tabletop for 13 days, 13 hours. I found this bottle sitting on Dawn's hobby bench because, she doesn't really ever use her hobby bench. But we're not supposed to say that. Okay. So if you guys are ever interested in what it looks like to have a big collection of Knight Models Harry Potter game, all you have to do is look at the shelf behind me. I know you can't see it now on camera, but there we go. It seemed to work pretty good. Yay. Okay. So, another interesting thing about these accessory packs in the game in general, they don't come with bases for the infantry. So you would have to come up with bases. I have a ton of MDF bases. I'm probably going to 3D print some bases at some point, but we'll just use a base today to show you what these look like. Okay. All right. So I have my MDF base. Go ahead and remove these guys off the sprue. So I'm recording. Okay, so you get 4 infantry guys, and they're all pretty much identical. It looks like 2 different poses. You have a kneeling pose and a standing pose. So, okay. So we'll go ahead and I'm going to throw a little bit of the homemade accelerator, and I am going to just throw a little dab on there like so, and I'm just going to mix these up. Now this is really big base. Um, you probably go with a lot smaller bases. Oh, no, don't do it. Quickly. Just mixing it up a little bit. All right. So we'll let that set. Probably sprayed on more than I needed to because they're still sliding around pretty good. But we'll let that sit for a minute. Let's go back to this. Okay, again, they say you do not need to prime this baby. Well, we'll see on this one. So we're going to use a different green this time. No. I used Matilda green last time. I think this is too bright. Let me take a quick look at it. This is Contrast Warp Lightning. Yeah, no, it's pretty good. Let's give that a shot because we can always darken it up later. So we'll throw some on our brush. It's really, that is a really, I won't say bright green, but a very bright green. Bright in the sense of not luminosity, but color tone. It's definitely going to need a wash of like a nun oil or something once we get it painted up here with with this stuff. Oh no, my track fell off. God bless America. Yeah, I think I have that track on backwards. It's hard to say. The drive wheel should be in the front or in the rear. Okay, let me finish this up here. So yeah, definitely gonna have to get some new glue and accelerator and see if that makes a difference on these. See if I have a bad batch of glue. But I've tried 2 different glues. I've tried plastic glue, plastic cement. It's not glue. Plastic. If you don't know the difference between cement and glue, cement actually melts the material and creates a bond on that level, whereas glue provides a chemical bond with an outside factor agent, and hence the crinolite. Whereas plastic cement and vinyl cement or acrylic cement um, actually melt the material, and the 2 pieces that you're gluing melt together. And those aren't dry yet. Yeah, I put too much. Oops. Poop. I know it says strong language. That's okay. It's starting to gel. We'll just leave those there. I'm going to paint these other guys on the sprue so we can take a look at them. Okay. So I'm going to gently move you over. take a look at these guys on the sprue here. And did I ever, if you have not followed me in the past, I am not a big fan of not contrast paints, GW paint pots. The contrast paints work very nice. Um, so nice, in fact, that Gaz, our resident in-house professional painter, he'll deny every word that I'm saying right now as far as being professional painter or what I'm going to throw him under the bus for, but that um, he convinced me to buy the entire line of contrast paints when they first came out. I don't know if there's additional colors now. I haven't really kept up because I'm not a big GW person. Um, but when they first came out, he was here last year, almost this time last year, for Thanksgiving. He came for the American Thanksgiving holiday and spent it with us. And part of that was we did a lot of hobbying and gameplay, and we went out and bought the entire contrast paint line. So nice thing is that these are 10 mil, so you don't have to get crazy detailed with them. A little color here, a little shadow, a little highlighting. You know, you can go as crazy as you want to on these, or not. You can just block color them, and once they're on the table, nobody's gonna care, right? And the nice thing about contrast paints is they go on so easy, and they do nice, especially in highly detailed stuff. So little stuff like this, where there's a lot of crevices and things like this, they go into really nice. All right, so we're gonna let that set off to the side. So there you go. See, I don't know how well I can. Let me see if I can highlight those with my light here. I don't think I have another light bulb I can pull right at the moment to put this other light on, but I can use my phone. Use the flashlight on my phone as a little light. There you go. Think of those, huh? Not bad. Oops, I missed a whole bunch. Holy cow, I missed a lot. And then there's the armor. See, that's what happens when you don't work under an actual light bench. I'm sitting at our little middle table, and I need to get back under. But the problem is, I've got to clean the workbench. Um, yeah, I got to clean the workbench. Where did I miss? I saw I missed. I think it was up front. Okay. All right. Okay, so there is your Spartan team, the British. Grab the package here. Fell off the table. So this is the British Spartan Patrol. So you have two Spartans. I'm assuming that's like a British version of a APC, along with their fire teams. Those are still really wet. Throw a little more chlorine on there, see if that'll accelerate that. Okay. So see how green that is? Oops, that fell over. The reason I don't like GW pots is because I always spill them. So there, let me move the infantry off the way here. We'll bring the Spartan over here. And the Vadzitka? Yeah, something like that. There. That green turned out really good. This green here is very, very green. It's a very green. Uh, Definitely have to darken that down a little bit. I'm gonna have to look at some pictures of actual British armor and see their color scheme a little bit better. Um, but for now, again, we're just. Oh, there's more contrast paints. That's the color orc flesh and more militarium green. How much militarium green do I got? Goodness, I got a lot. Orc flesh. That might have been the color I was actually looking for. That's pretty bright too. I don't know if it's bright as that other one, but you know what? Let's try it on this track. So this was the Militarium green that we used on the Zavica. We used the um, what was this other one here? Where'd it go? Warp Lightning on this Spartan, and on this Spartan, we're going to use some Orc Flesh and see how that turns out. If that's any better. It looks pretty green too, but you never know. Oh no, I think that's better. I think that might be actually better. We'll see. It's still on the greener, light green side, if you will. I don't have any tracks on it to hold it by. It's okay. The nice thing is, usually when they dry, they're a little bit on the darker side. They're not as bright. So we'll see when these dry how they look. I hope you guys are having a good week. I hope you had a good Remembrance Day, Veterans Day, celebrated it, observed it, however you like to call it in your home country. Uh, and to all my fellow veterans out there, um, thank you. Um, it is an honor and a pleasure to know you and be considered one of you. And we will do our annual Veterans Day show on Sunday in the podcast. Don't worry, Jim will be part of the podcast. I'm just giving a weekend off from, having to plan a game and all that silliness. So, um, we'll have something special planned for the stream on Sunday. Boy, there isn't a lot of difference between these two here. This one's a little bit darker, I think. Um, but I do like that color. So that is Contrast Orc Flesh. Okay. All right. So, moving along, we'll move to another set here. I'll move these guys out of the way. What's the next set here? Soviet BRDM2 Conquer section. I'm assuming these. Let's see. Let's take a look at some BDRMs. So, BDRMs, again, same kind of package. It's all the same, just printing is different. And it contains 2 of these BDRMs. Woo! So these are wheeled vehicles versus tracked. Almost lost the wheel there. As you can see, here is the hulls, the wheels, and they have, looks like rocket launchers on them. Yes, they do. All right, so let's assemble, if we are able to with this glue I have, a set. That was popped right off. Let me clean this up a little bit, because this one does have a little bit of a mold line. That's pretty clean. So it's definitely a wheeled vehicle, excuse me. Assuming these go, well, round end up. Make sure I get these. Round, no, round end down. So these will fit into these notches. There's a notch here. You can see that, and then there's a peg, a key, if you will. Is what they call it officially, a key on the wheel. You just gotta make sure you get the key on correctly. So now comes the tricky part of gluing these up. Just a dab, just a light spray, and not to glue my fingers together if this glue's any good. Well, that went on quick. That worked. I think. I hope. I pray. Okay. That's one. We'll do the next one. Helps if I take it off the sprue, huh? 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'll leave the weapons rack on it for now. I did already put glue on there. Let me get a light spray on there. And need to make sure I get that key in correctly. Okay. Moving along. I'm sorry, I went out of focus here or off screen. I'm working on a pretty tight bench just to keep it details as much as possible. Throw a little bit light spray and key that in like so. And one last one right here. Okay, there it is. We'll let that set a minute. Well, I'm gonna leave it resting like so. I'm gonna take the weapons rack. It looks like 4 rocket launchers here. Let's look it up. BDRM-2 Conquer. What does Google have to say about that? It is a BDRM-2. BDRM-2. Hey, if you want to get one for sale, they're for sale. Conquer. BDRM-2 is an amphibious armored patrol car used by Russia and the former Soviet Union. It's also known under the Polish blah blah blah. Missiles designed to be fired from the vehicles. Okay, so it's a missile system. Anti-tank guided missile. All right, so these are anti-tank missiles. All right. So we'll go ahead and pop this baby off. So it's almost like a toe. Okay. Alrighty. We're going to throw a little bit of go juice here. And a little spray here. And I totally missed. And I'm going to go with, they go this way. Wheels are all jinking. No bueno. Alright. I'll leave that to sit for a minute. So that is the BDRM-2 Conquer. So it's a BDRM-2 with the Conquer, which is a anti-tank weapon system, missile system. So that's what that looks like. I gotta make sure those are on right. I didn't like how this turret, it doesn't fit in the hole precisely. Looks a little wider. Maybe I didn't cut the base close enough? I don't know. There's not much room for error if you cut that wrong. This one just does not want to stay. See what I'm talking about? This glue just does not seem to be doing its job. So I must have old, bad super glue. I didn't know the stuff went bad. I don't know how old that is. It's probably 4 years old. Okay, so that's the Conqueror. I'm going to let that dry a little bit before we throw paint on it. So I'm going to just set that over here. So you get 2 of those in the package. Nicely detailed. And then we have one more set to go. Seek a special set. Um, I didn't put this one in the sneak peek picture, but for all you British fans out there, got to have a little bit love to the SAS. So we got the British SAS Patrol. Oh yeah. And look, they're so secret, they're not even in the window. So you get one 10mm fire team and a Land Rover. Boy, that must be some serious stuff if you're only getting one in a pack instead of 2 like everything else has had. 2 of the vehicles or 2 infantry, whatever. You get 1. There it is. SAS. So, here's the question. Do these guys look any different than the other regular infantry? Let me pull these infantry over here. Yeah, I guess you could say they do look different. I don't know how well you'll be able to pick it up, but they're not wearing helmets like these guys, the regular infantry are. And this guy here has a bigger weapon. So, yeah, it looks like there's a little bit of difference in the sculpts. Again, it does not include bases, and that's a Land Rover, all right. All right, let's pop this Land Rover off. Let's take a look at it. So there's a driver, except they put him on the wrong side of the car. Or it must have been a backwards reverse mold because they got him on the right side of the car driving, and he should be on the left side. I know, I know. I'm just trying to be funny. He is. It's a British vehicle, so they drive on the wrong side. So there you go. Okay. And you get 4 little tires. They do have keys on them. Looking at this, there is a little notch there, but not much. So I'm gonna test this with 1 to see how this fits together. Because honestly, if these don't fit well, and it's not, I'm saying that the model's bad, then my glue just may not hold properly to put these in. And I'm gonna have to get new glue. I think, yeah, it's a very tight tolerance. If you can see how that goes in there, so the key will go right there. So yeah, all right. So that helps with that decision. Um, those are finally kind of setting, it's still kind of gel. So British SAS, this is a patrol. So when you really, really, really want to ruin somebody's day, and I'm talking about the nasty commies, the Soviets, um, you send in the best of the best. Their motto has always been my motto since I was knee-high to a grasshopper. The first time I ever heard of the SAS and their motto, "Who dares wins," I adopted it as my own. And honestly, if I could have gotten British citizenship, I would have just so I could join the SAS. Um, these guys are the boys, if you will. Okay. Yes, Army Special Forces, Green Berets are awesome and they're the shit as well, but the SAS have a long, long history going back to World War II. Um, yes, you could theoretically say the U.S. Special Forces, Green Berets, go back to World War II as well, as far as the 1st Canadian American Division, Special Operations. I can't remember the exact term, but that's where they kind of got their roots from. But this is the SAS. You know, the embassy raid in London. Come on, It don't get cooler than that, right? And then you had the SBS, which is an offshoot of the SAS. Just take on that tanker, in the channel in the middle of the night. Come on, right? So these are awesome. These are really awesome. Yeah, it's really dark. I don't know. Well, I'm gonna have to look at some pictures on some British. I'll look in the rule book. Actually, I have a rule book here. Let me grab it. And I'm still waiting on some pictures from our friend Paul, who won a starter set, two-player starter set. Um, he sent us a picture that he received it, but I'm hoping he'll post on the Facebook some pictures of some of his stuff. Okay, so here is Soviet armor, and it is a very, it's pretty close in color. It's a little lighter than this one. I mean, you could lighten that up and it'd be a little. I have actual army painter colors that probably work much better than these. I'm trying to find a picture of a British vehicle. Now it's a T-64, a Striker. Good old Strikers. Yeah, see, here's a Striker. I don't know how well you can see that. Let me get that down there. That's a Striker. So you can see it's a very lighter olive drabby color, which I do have actually. I have a ton of it. Army painter stuff, Vallejo. So we'll probably, unfortunately, not go with contrast paints on those because they are just so. Oh, here's the S21 or yeah, S21. Yeah. So there's the S21 right there. So this is power the artillery cannon. So it's off table and direct fire. Guess you can use it for that if you wanted to. So I'm really anxious to get an actual game in. You know, things have been so crazy around here. Helicopters, lynxes, frogfoot. I got to remember, this is not about the Americans. This is about the British and the Northern North Group. That's what NORTHAG stands for. North Group. The North Atlantic Group. Um, so that's what it stands for. Um, the backbone of NORTHAG um, was the Boer, B-A-O-R. I like to say Boer. I don't know if that's how they, but that's the British Army of the Rhine. So, um, yeah, you had Northag, Suntag, which was the U.S., and north of Hamburg on the Danish peninsula was AF North, Allied Forces Northern Europe, which is a combination of Danish and German troops. South of Kassel, a command of NATO forces fell to Suntag, which is American and Germans, and the British had the north. So, yeah, I'm seriously thinking of here very shortly now that the weather's turning colder and I'm back in Illinois from freaking Wisconsin, Florida Keys, which I really miss all of a sudden because it's cold here. But anyway, of taking a play test of North Ag, and then we do a Team Yankee one and do a comparison and see how they come out. Team Yankee's obviously in 15 mil. This is 10 mil. Scales, a little here or there. It's not a big deal. Um, there, that finally dried up. So that's on I think these are 25 millimeter bases, if I'm not mistaken. Um, we got these, you can go to like game conventions, and I think it was Battlefront has a big thing where you can just, get like a Chinese food container and fill it with as many of bases as you can, for a certain price. Weight, I think it's by weight or container, I can't remember. But anyway, so you can use these bases. So, so yeah. So here's my thing. Let's look at this real quick. So here, let me move some of the stuff off the way here so we don't interfere with what I'm trying to say here. I don't want to lose that wheel. Here is the Spartan. Okay, that's how it looks painted up. We're gonna throw a different color on that and lighten that up a little bit. Oh, there it is, my army green. Oh yeah. So we're going to use this real quick, just because I can, and I'm going to use this as a paint palette because my other paint palette's over there, and I'm not going to pull it out for just this little bit. I'm going to throw a dab of paint on there so you can see that. And I'm going to grab my brush, get this wet, thin this out a little bit more, get this nice and thin, and paper towel. Okay. Now let's lighten this up, shall we? There we go. So I have it watered down pretty good. And this is Army Painter's Army Green. And I am literally just smearing it on it right this second just to get it based. And I know it looks kind of nasty at the moment, but bear with me, folks. Bear with me. Oops. Okay. All right. There's that. I'm going to clean my brush real good. And guys, I know times are tight right now with this whole COVID thing and people being furloughed or off work. But think of your hobby companies, hobby stores, support where you can. Please and thank you. Because, a lot of those guys are little independents and it's hard for them to survive right now. You know, especially a lot of them who depend on conventions. And a lot of those little companies, like in England, that I know, I'm friends with some of the people that own them. I know that a lot of them do a lot of their business at conventions more than online or anything, because that's when people see their product better. So, all right, there we go. So I lightened it up with some Army Painter Green. We'll see how that turns out. If not, I'll just re-prime it and repaint it. But that might be closer to a British color there. So that's Army Green. I do have actual British Vallejo paints over there from Team Yankee. If we have to, we'll go to those. But let's see how that turns out first. I did it kind of almost like a wash, and we'll go from there. So, guys, that's going to be the show for tonight. I appreciate you filling in with me. So that was a brief overview of the Battlegroup NORTHAG expansion packs of the British SAS Patrol, which includes this guy right here, the Soviet 2S1 Vzadvika. Sorry for any of my Russian friends who I'm butchering that. Battery. That would be these big boys right here with the 120 millimeter howitzers. And then we had the BDRM2 Conquerors, which is this bad boy right here, um, with the Conquer weapon system, which is an anti-tank missile system on it, amphibious armored car. And then lastly, we had the Spartan and Fire Team. So this is the Spartan right here that we've been working on, and here is the Spartan team that's based for them. Um, so my question is, are these guys actually 10 millimeter? They look awfully big compared to. Oh yeah, they're not 10 millimeter scale. They are not. There's no way. I mean, I don't know how big or small these things are, but okay, here's a this Conquer. Look how look at the scale difference. There's no way. Look how I mean, here's the tank guy right here. You know, the tank commander. I think that's him standing up at the turret. So obviously they've oversized. These almost look like 15 mil. These look like 15 mil. These guys. I sure do. They look 15 mil. They're not 10. There's no way. I think they're 15. I think the miniatures are the infantry guys are 15 mil. They're not 10 mil. They're too big. The scale. I mean, here. Sorry, guys. Here's the 10 mil Range Rover with the driver, and look at him compared to these infantry. So the infantry are not 10 mil. They're at least 15 mil. So I'm assuming they did that for playability, so you can see them on the table versus it. Personally, I'm all about the scale. If you're going to do a game in 10 mil, everything should be in 10 mil. You know, that's what drives me crazy about Team Yankee and some of the aircraft, because it's not in 1/100 scale, it's in 1 in 1/44 scale. So there, you know, the scale's totally off. So, um, but other than that, you know, it's okay to play with. You know, it represents infantry on the table. Like I said, I'm gonna probably design in 3D print bases for these. If somebody already hasn't done that, I'll have to look around and see if there is. But so that's the vehicles, and like I said, these are looking at them now, they're just a lot of scale. But that shouldn't take away from the game. The game itself is awesome. You know, it's written by our friends, Piers, and oh boy, sorry, and Warwick. Sorry, Warwick. I totally had a brain fart for a minute. But you know, between those guys and others in the collaboration, and the guys over at PSC, Plastic Soldier Company, you know, they're putting out a really nice product. I like these little packs. These are nice. A lot, you know, it's not a lot of wasted packaging. Good for the environment. Yada yada. So hopefully we'll see what happens. I got to get some new glue, and I'll get these guys put together, and then we'll go from there. So, guys, I really appreciate everything you guys do and following and supporting our podcast. And again, also make sure you look for more updates about our radio station. We're having a radio station that's coming out. That radio station, um, what I want to say there, the radio station itself is something that I've put together to give you something to listen to in the background while you're hobbying or painting, and you know, it's going to have all kinds of different kind of music and you know, different things like that. So I just wanted to you know, put something really cool together and do some different things like that. So you know, it's one of those things I want you guys all to look out for, and you know, if you look at it, here's the screen graphics for the radio station. It's called Battle on Radio. It's on Live 365. I'll make sure to put links in for it. Right now, it's just playing a very small list of music that I just happen to have available quickly, so I can test out things. We're still having some issues with some third-party software, so we can easily switch between programming and going live, and it has a request option as well. We might just put in the Discord channel of Battle on Radio page where you can do things like that. But it'll be a combination of live shows, music, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and we'll replay the podcast on Mondays at 3 o'clock. So if you want to catch that on the radio channel, you can do that as well as all our other awesome platforms. So we're just trying to bring in more stuff and give you guys something to listen to. So I know Dawn's interested in putting a Christmas music. Please bear with me. She likes her Christmas music, so we thought we'd give her a radio show. We're going to have some live shows where we just, chat about whatever on gaming. And we're going to pop in news probably every other hour. We'll probably do BBC or NPR, one of those two. I don't It's one of those two. It just depends on what I can get access to. But it's one of our projects, and like I said, this Sunday at 1 o'clock. That's Central Standard Time. Be on the lookout for a live stream with myself and possibly Marty as we live stream our play-by-play of the 13 hours to 13 days tabletop, since I just can't get the video to work right. We'll have video that we'll be breaking down, but in the meantime, that's what we plan on doing. So, guys, thank you for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a great night and have a great weekend, and we will see you on the next, what was I going to say? Show. Take care.